Thank you for coming. This is Dr. Tano. I'm really happy that you're here with us this evening. I call this the Integrative Immunity webinar, and you would understand why I call it Integrative Immunity. So my promise to you is that I'll show you exactly how to reduce long hours of work and liberate time to enjoy your family, friends, life, and medicine again. Because a lot of people have lost their vision for medicine. Many of us went into medicine with this idealistic goal of helping people and make them feel well, and etc. But given the current atmosphere in medicine, life has become more difficult to bear. And so many of us are becoming disillusioned, and we becoming discouraged, so not willing to go with basic medicine again. Now, so we need to bring back this love that we had for medicine when we started medical school. So you can do all of this without sacrificing your income or burning out or replacing your family, friends, your life with your work. In the process, you lose your love for medicine. So how many of you actually saw the movie The Bucket List? Well, if you did, when you enter the Egyptian heaven, what are the two questions that they asked? There are two major questions that the gods would ask you. Have you found joy in your life? Or has your life brought joy to others? I think for most of us who went into medicine, we all were very idealistic, or we still are idealistic, that we want to help people. That's why we went to medicine. So we try to find joy for others or create joy for others. But in the process, what has happened is that many of us are losing our personal joy. So we can answer, while we can answer the second question very well, the first question is not so well attended. So that's some of the things that I want to focus on here today so that we can all enjoy our lives. So how many of you feel this way? Tired all the time and burned out? A lot of people are talking about it. So if you go to Doximity, for instance, Doximity.com, where the doctors meet and discuss issues, we have a lot of issues that we're discussing on that. There are several people who are complaining about the electronic medical records. Many doctors are complaining about MOC, the maintenance of certification. A lot of people complain about insurance companies. Many of people complain about government mandates. So we all are really doing so much that tends to be overbearing and difficult. And so at this moment, there are so many people who are being burnt out and they cannot get their lives together. And it is important, if we're going to do good by other people, to do good by ourselves. And that's why I'm trying to put this webinar together to try to show how we can change things for us. Because many people talk, we all go to Doximity or all these forums and we start venting our feelings, but nobody's really bringing solutions to this. So if you're a man, you're tired, you're a woman, you're tired, everybody. So who will benefit from this webinar? If you're a medical doctor, you're an osteopathic doctor, chiropractor, naturopathic doctor, physician assistant, nurse practitioner, nurses, nutritionists, medical residents, medical students, all of other healthcare practitioners will benefit from this webinar. So you will benefit particularly if you have difficulty answering your patient-loaded questions. In this 21st century, with the advent of the internet, many patients come very loaded and they're trying to ask you questions, and many of us are very uncomfortable. We say, okay, Dr. Google again, and then we get very frustrated with those questions. But after you finish tonight, perhaps you will be able to answer those questions at ease without much difficulty, and you will not be so angry or so mad when patients come with those loaded questions. You will feel, if you feel lost in the plethora of medical information needed to practice medicine in today's complex medical environment, then this will be for you. If you have difficulty retaining your patients, then this will be for you. If your reviews on HealthGrid and other review sites are poor, then this will be helpful for you. If you are not happy with the amount of time you spend with your patients, like if you do the 15-20 minute rule that we have, then this probably will help you tremendously. And if your patients often complain of waiting too long in the waiting room before they can be seen, this will be very good for you as well. And if you have no educational materials for your patients, then this will be pretty good. You will learn how to get something for them. If you have no patient care blueprint, this will be a good webinar to attend. If you have no time to keep up with the rapid information change in medicine, then this will be a good place to be to learn that. If you are frustrated with the practice of medicine so much that you would like to quit practicing, then this is the right place for you. If your practice does not leave you enough time to spend with your family, friends, and enjoy your life, then this is great to learn how to change that. And if your practice is your life, then this definitely is not going to be a good thing. So this learning something here may help you. If your patients do not respect your opinion or your patient dismiss your recommendations, then this will be a good place for you. If your patients talk bad about you behind your back, which happens very often than not, maybe you'll be surprised what patients say to other physicians or other healthcare practitioners. Then when they go see them, you will be shocked. So this, if you hear about that, then this is going to be a good webinar to learn from it. And overall, if you know that your practice needs help, then this is going to be good for you. If you tell yourself if you had to do it all over again, you will not go into medicine, then this is going to be good for you. If you are starting your medical career and you want to start with a proven patient care blueprint, for instance, if you're a medical student, if you are a resident or even fellowship, this will be good to learn before you get into the practice, so then you can find a way out instead of burning out right from the beginning. So if you stay until the end, I promise you I'm going to give you something. I will give you the PDF of my best-selling book, The Layman's Guide to Integrative Immunity. Of course, this term comes back and again, integrative immunity. We're going to try to see what it is. So I need your attention now, because many times we go to webinars or we go to seminars and we have all the gadgets that we have in our hands, telephones and Facebook. We're still checking those things. So if you're a healthcare provider and you're serious about getting better patient satisfaction and enjoy your work and life, then the next 90 minutes will change your life. So who am I to talk about all of this? I'm Dr. Benoit Tano. I actually grew up in Africa. I grew up in Côte d'Ivoire. For those of you who don't know Côte d'Ivoire, that's the Ivory Coast. It's right here by Ghana. Growing up there, I was a farmer's kid, so we were in the farm. I really never thought that I would go to school, because in the village, all my friends were going to school except me. But meanwhile, when the kids were going to school, my best friend Marcel, when he came back from school, I started learning to read with him. And one time when I went to the farm, and something happened. I spoke French, and my father was astonished, and he asked me, where did you learn that? I said, well, I have been learning French behind your back. So my intense desire, which was to go to school, actually was delivered through a vehicle. And the vehicle is this taro plant. I don't know, maybe many of you have never seen a taro plant, but this is a taro plant. So this thing here that I have represented is a yam barn. So yams, West Africa, we eat a lot of yams, and when the yam is harvested, it has to be put up so then it doesn't rot, and we keep it for until the next season to plant it. So my role as a kid was to pick up the yams from one pot and take it to my father so that he can tie them up. While I was doing this taro root was in my way, so I put it out and threw it away. So my father asked me, "Why did you do that?" I said, "Well," I said in French, but it was bothering me. And so he was shocked. "Why? How did you learn all of this stuff?" And that's how I explained it to her. So my intense desire of going to school was delivered through this vehicle, which is the taro roots. If that never happened, that I don't think that I would have made it, but perhaps I would, because I didn't know what he was thinking. Again, early on, I found out also that I loved languages, because languages unite people. And because of my language aptitude, of course, there's something here. Jacques Lacan, who was a French philosopher, said, "Le langage avant de signifier quelque chose signifie pour quelqu'un." So before meaning anything, language has to mean something for somebody. So my language abilities actually helped me tremendously. And while I was in school, junior high school, I did an aptitude test, or we took aptitude test, and it was shown that I had aptitude for social sciences. So I went into high school because in Cote d'Ivoire back then, in the 60s and 70s, actually we had the same exact French system, because Cote d'Ivoire being a French colony, we had the exact French system. And so my aptitude test showed that I was good in social sciences, and I went to high school studying economics and social sciences. I did pretty well, went to the university in economics and social sciences, and ended up getting a scholarship from the Ivory Coast, or from the Cote d'Ivoire government, and to come to the United States and study economics. I did well. When I was in my second year of graduate school, the scholarship was cut off for no reason. The government did not know what it's doing, so they cut off all the scholarship for North America, Canada, and the United States. So students who were here were asked to leave and go back home. I decided that I was going to stay, and since I was doing well, I got an assistantship, a fellowship and assistantship from SUNY Albany, New York, where I finished my PhD in economics. So because I did not have any more contract with the government, I decided that I was going to stay here in America and continue my career in economics. So I had a teaching position at the University of Toledo in Ohio. And while I was teaching, though, I had always thought that it would be good to be a medical doctor. I want to be a medical doctor. I want to help people. My goal is to help people and make them feel good and do well and cure diseases. Because in Africa, if you live in the rural area, it's guaranteed you're going to see a lot of diseases. Myself, I had my fair share of malaria and many of these other conditions. So I thought maybe I could do better by going to medical school, and I started researching, and right off the bat I decided to take some classes to go to medical school. So the university actually allowed the professors to take about 6 credit hours per quarter, because we had a quarter system, and that's what I did, and ended up having a BS degree in biology and entered medical school, graduated in 1999, and then went to Ohio State University Medical Center, where I did my internal medicine residency. When I finished my residency in internal medicine, I had this question. Now I have an economics degree and I have medicine. What do I do with that? Maybe I can combine them. So there was an opportunity that occurred. GlaxoSmithKline, the pharmaceutical company, actually had a fellowship to train physicians in health outcome. I want to tell you all of this just because all of this background actually has prepared me to do what I do today. Because if I did not get this economics background, perhaps it would be difficult for me to do what I do today. So GlaxoSmithKline gave me that fellowship, and in conjunction with Ohio State, I was able to do the 2-year fellowship, but I did not want to practice. I did not want to do outcome research alone. I just wanted to practice medicine. So I was interested in allergy and immunology, and I was able to have a fellowship in allergy and immunology at Johns Hopkins Medical Center in Baltimore, Maryland. That's where I did my allergy and immunology fellowship. Again, my intense desire has been fulfilled. So because I'm a professor, I'm a teacher, I was looking for a teaching position when I finished my fellowship in allergy and immunology, and ended up having a position at the University of Texas Health Sciences Center in Tyler, Texas, which is on northeast Texas, about 2 hours from Dallas. Now, I was given the position as an associate professor, so I jumped assistant professorship, went to associate professorship, and I was really happy about that. But while I was in Tyler, there was a meeting in Dallas, and my partner said, hey, you know, one of us has to go to this meeting. It's not going to be me, you go. So I said, oh, 5 days off, I go to Dallas, I enjoy myself, I go to this meeting, and, you know, we see. So I went, and it was a group of family physicians and ENT physicians who get together every year to try to learn the art of doing skin testing, and after that they incorporate allergy and immunology practice in their practices. That part I did not like because I had spent 2 years of my life doing allergy and immunology training, and now this group does it in 5 days, which was kind of interesting to me, but I did not like that. But one of the things that I found out was that this group also taught about hormones and how the hormones affect our lives, how the hormones drive many of the chronic diseases that we have. And so because I did not really trust them, I said, well, perhaps I should go and learn about these hormones, because in medical school, my hormone learning stops at the point where it was trying to do sterilization of horses and people flying planes and spraying things so then the horses cannot multiply. That's what I got. I didn't really get all the pathways and everything that these people are talking about. So I went and bought a bunch of books about hormones and started reading them. So while I was reading, I found it fascinating. And I said, wow, why nobody really taught us these hormones in medical school, why we didn't learn much in residency, why we didn't learn much in allergy and immunology fellowship and anywhere else. So maybe I should invest more time. And the more I read, the more I found out that it was really fascinating. I should do something about that. So in 2011, I published a little book called The Allergy Detective, Allergic Rhinitis Treatment Secrets Your Doctor May Not Tell You, because I found out that in the allergy world, many of the adult onset allergies actually have their etiology in hormones or hormone imbalance. And so adult onset allergies in women, for instance, may be driven by estrogens, which I did not know about. So once I learned this fact, I published that little book. And then I followed up with a bigger book called the Hormone Imbalance Syndrome, America's Silent Plague. Another way to find out this obesity epidemic that we have, where is it coming from? And all of that gave me a lot of information. And so that was published in 2012. And in 2012, after doing these 2 books, I said, maybe I should join an association where I could perform many of these things. So I ended up approaching A4M, which is the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, to try to see if I can lecture for them. And looking at the books, they felt, wow, this is a great, you'll be a great asset for us, so you can teach in the fellowship. So I did teach in the A4M fellowship program for about 3 years. So I taught 2012, 2013, 2014. And at that point, I decided that I should concentrate on my own course creation and training program. So as you can see, these are the 3 books that I was talking about. and publish them. So are there any proof or results or anything that I got with this teaching here? There are some people, for instance, Dr. Kildani out in Rochester, New York, after attending the course in May 2014, in July, she published her newsletter based on this whole course, where she describes very clearly what I have said. And says here, for instance, she says, Dr. Benoit Tano, author of 3 books on allergy and immunology, gave a fascinating lecture on the link between obesity, allergies, and pesticide use. And so she goes on and explain how I did talk about all of these things. So she, Monday morning after the lecture, she went and actually adopted everything that I have said and tried to implement that in her clinic. So these lectures are very important, because once the people have learned about the lectures, they can use it in their practice and they can see results. So she goes on and said that in 2016, for instance, she on her Facebook, she mentioned that after learning about this connection between hormones and pesticides and all of that, her life has never been the same again, because every single patient she saw now, she will talk to them about lifestyle changes and things that will help them. So I think there is an impact of these lectures on the fellows and what they're doing in their practices. So there are some other people, like this Nigerian pharmacist who wrote to me. She said, "Oh, hello, Dr. Tano. I'm Farm Juliet from Nigeria, doing online program with A4M. I really enjoyed your lecture more than every other lecture. I wish you could continue. Sir, I would be glad if you can send the menstrual cycle diagram you mentioned to me, as it will help me have more understanding in the hormonal interplay in regard to weight loss." So hormones affect weight. So again, many of the fellows that see me at A4M or other meetings, they say, well, you know, we wish you could continue these lectures. We wish you can do this. You can. So I said, all right, I listened to all the advice that they said, and in March of 2015, I created what I call Integrated Immunity Health System in Edina, Minnesota. And in 2016, we talked about Integrated Immunity Training Program that is accredited for the doctors. So in 2016, I wrote the best-selling book called The Layman's Guide to Integrative Immunity. Now, of course, integrative immunity is how the endocrine system and the immune system interact to cause most of the chronic diseases that we see. So if you understand this interrelationship of these two systems, then perhaps your life will be easier, because you don't have to be scattered all over the place, and you can focus on many of the conditions in the 21st century and treat them appropriately. So that's what this is about. So if you stick around until the end, I will show you how to get your hand on this book. You will get a copy, the PDF version of that for free. So imagine what your life will be then when you have all the reduced long hours of work and without sacrificing your income. And or you can liberate time, because the problem is, for instance, many people want to write books. They want to do other things in their lives, and they say, well, maybe when I retire, I will do these things. And retirement never comes for them. Maybe in the way they die or something happened. So they never achieve their lifelong goal of writing books or doing other things besides medicine. So why wait? Why not do it now? So you need to liberate time to do so. And to do that, and enjoy your family, enjoy your friend, enjoy medicine. And to do that, there should be a few things that we should do. If you know how to increase quality of care instead of quantity, and you can avoid practitioner burnout, maximize health outcomes and patient satisfaction, those are the things that I'm trying to show you. And this all without sacrificing your income. If you really know how to see few patients, Now, I'm seeing advertising in the allergy world. I don't know, primary care, probably you have more things, but even in allergy and immunology, all the jobs out there, when they advertise, they say, oh, you will see 20 to 25 patients a day. How many people can see 20, 25 patients a day and go home after all these electronic medical records and enjoy what you're doing and remember even every single patient that you have seen all for the whole week, one day even, and go one whole week and then one whole month, one whole year. Now that's going to be a Herculean task to understand and see these patients. But for me, perhaps it's not the key is not in the quantity, but probably the quality, and that's what I will talk about. So you can see the patient establish a relationship and trust with them and create a pleasant working environment and create word-of-mouth free publicity for you so you can generate more satisfaction for yourself and for your patients. That is what we talk about. So the results that we get are not typical. I can say that, or that because many people, no matter what you do, they can take a course, they can take a year-long course or a lifelong course, but they never implement anything. So if you don't implement what we're trying to do, then you're not going to get results. This is not a get rich quick scheme or anything like that, but rather to alleviate all the task that you have on what you do, so then your life can be more agreeable. So what we'll cover today, we'll cover secret number one is you can make more money in a day by seeing about 3-4 new patients and 3 to 4 return patients. So about total of 8 patients a day. You don't have to go overboard and see 20 patients or 30 patients or 50 patients to be happy. So the best way is to learn the integrated immunity secrets. The secret number two, you don't have to be or sound like a salesman or sound salesy to get your patient to respect and see value in what you have to offer. So let me show you the integrated immunity blueprint that builds patient education and urgency for your services. Once they have that, then they will respect everything that you say and they will follow your directions. And the secret number 3 is you only need to focus on the 2 important specialties, or what I call subspecialties, and the integrated immunity made for you blueprint to achieve success in the 21st century environment. So we said that you can make more money if your money is your goal in a day by seeing only 3-4 new patients or 3-4 return patients, and that will liberate the time for you. And you can focus on many other things when you have the time. For instance, I can tell you, since 2016 I've been practicing, I have never seen more than 15 patients a day. Never. I've been in hospitals, I've been everywhere, but yet I still generate a lot of income for the hospital. Just because I know not seeing 20 patients a day, I saw maximum 10 patients. Many times I saw 8 patients a day. There is a way to do that, and that's why I thought it would be important for other physicians or other practitioners to also know all of these things, so then you can do a better job. So all this would be to see fewer patients, or the secret would be to find out a way to see fewer patients and liberate your time, and then you can go forward. So what do I mean by this? One of the things that I have found out is that the patients are complaining, and many of you can see that. The patients are not happy because they're going from doctor to doctor to doctor, and they're not happy. So do you know what the patients are complaining about? What would be the #1 complaint from the patient? Well, I was looking around and I found something called the graphometer. So there's a graphometer here. The patients are griping about something, and this is published by the Consumer Report National Research Center. The #1 question that, #1 thing they complain about is unclear explanation of problems. That's the #1 complaint. So I realized that if we are not in tune with a 21st century chronic diseases, the etiology of it, what is causing them, and we're not looking to see the root cause of the problems, then it becomes difficult for us to explain what is happening to this patient while they're going from doctor to doctor to doctor. Of course, I talk about test results not communicated fast enough, and you all know that many times this may be due to the lab, or people are not faxing to you in time, or they're not sending. So there's many other reasons why the test results are not communicated in time. Billing disputes are hard to resolve. Of course, with the current insurance environment and difficulties, the billing issues have become a nightmare. And how to get quick appointment when sick. Of course, you can go down and you can see, but the number one thing here is a clear explanation of the problem. Because of that, then they're going to talk about the bedside manner, or you have arrogance because you're dismissing them, you look like you're not listening to them, you are indifferent to their problems, or you have poor listening skills. All of this goes against the practitioner, and they will put on half grade or other grading systems, and when other people see that, then they don't want to see you because you don't have good evaluations. And consumer services, also long waiting times, customer service, or long waiting time, rude treatment by the front office or staff, poor access and billing dispute, and poor follow-up. They also complain about doctors who think that you are crazy. That's a big one all of the time, because many times when the practitioners cannot explain what is happening with the patient, they say it's all in your head. You go see a psychiatrist. Once you mention psychiatrist, then they all get upset because you're saying to them that it's all in their head. And I can tell you, I've seen some patient who actually cursed out some of my colleagues and said, you know, this person, I'm in healthcare myself, and this person is telling me to go see a psychiatrist? Come on. Now, so that person was really mad. And so if you don't say anything at all, or don't make them feel like they're crazy. So doctors who never consult your other doctor, so there's no communication between physicians, and patients don't like that. And the major one is the doctors who sneer at non-traditional medicine. But these days, everybody's on vitamins. Most of your patients will be on vitamins and supplements and other things. And they come, and if you're not learning about these things and try to incorporate that in your practices, I think the patients are not going to be happy, because once you say, well, why are you taking this? Why are you doing this? Why this person is telling you to take this and that? Because the patient will go to a naturopath, they go to acupuncturists, they go to other practitioners who are doing holistic medicine, and they will give them all of this stuff, and you, if you're an MD or a DO and you say, well, these things, we should not do it, then the patient is going to dismiss you and say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. So these are all the things that the patients are unhappy about. And so what is my process? What is the blueprint that I have that I try to make available so then we can do a better job? Well, number one, you have to advertise, and we can show you. So this is like a funnel that you can go through, and you have to advertise. Once you have the patients, then you have to build a rapport with them. And to build the rapport, you need to do a good history and physical. So this, everywhere we learn in medical school, that the answer to many of the patient's problems will be to do a good history and physical exam. Now, when you do a good history, you take time. So again, here I have a lengthy questionnaire that I give to the patient. But that is just serving me for understanding what they're putting down. But it doesn't mean I'm going to just read the questionnaire and I would not interact with the patient. Unfortunately, with this hard, quick, fast 20 minutes, 15 minutes patient visit, many people don't have time. So when they have questionnaires, they tend to focus on the questionnaire and not interacting with the patients as such. So I want to do a review of systems. After you do the history, you do a good review of system. That's where you establish your rapport with the patient, because the review of system, you go from head to toe. And when I do teach for A4M, for instance, or in other conferences, when I ask physicians, can you do a complete review of system in 5 minutes? And it's almost impossible for the physicians or for the healthcare practitioners to do this review of system in 5 minutes. Well, you need to learn to do that. It's important, because once you do that, then the patient is already with you, because you're asking them pertinent questions. If you ask them to tell you the story they did in the history, but they missed a lot of it because they already came prepared, but they forget things that they need to tell you. So by doing a systematic review of system, that allows you to uncover many of the things that they have forgotten. And that's how you establish. And also, if you have memorized that review system, which I can show you, then you will be able to impress them that you know what you're talking about. And sometimes when I do a review of system, the patient asks me, "Are you reading from the wall? What is going on?" Because I ask them so many questions in 5 minutes, and they're very impressed with that. Already, you have established a rapport by doing that. And then you can do your physical exam, and once you do the physical exam, you can do the next step, which is bringing you to the improving your income, which means education, because many times we don't have the education incorporated in our visit. And that is what is lacking, and that's what the patients are complaining about. So how do we incorporate the education if many of us don't even know the root cause of the problem in the 21st century? So most of us are practicing still with the tools and diagnostics methods of the 19th and the 20th century. We're not adapting those to the 21st century. To do that, then to educate, you have to understand what the problems are. So we have several problems that we can focus on. We can talk about the hormone education. So you can, if you know about hormones, you can show them. So many of the patients who will come today, they have obesity, they have diabetes, they have high blood pressure, they have cholesterol, many of these people have hormonal issues. So you can actually educate them on the hormones if you yourself understand what is behind it. And many of them have allergy problems. So if you know allergies, then you can educate them on the allergies. But if you do hormones, of course, that will give you some income there, but that entails some nutritional supplements. If you give them nutritional supplements, then that also will lead you some passive income down the road. So you're adding to your income. So even if you see fewer patients, still you can make more money. Now, the hormones, if you do hormone testing, you give them hormones, and I can show you the appropriate way of doing that, then there will be follow-up, and the follow-up would also generate some income. And then you can do every 3, 6, 12 months, so 3 months, 6 months, 12 months follow-ups, that would generate something. Now, if you can incorporate an allergy treatment or allergy evaluation and treatment in your practice, which I can help you do that, then we can do skin testing. That generates money. And if you do skin testing, you can do allergy drops, sublingual drops, and that also will generate some income. If you're an allergist, then it's even easier. You can do subcutaneous immunotherapy or allergy shots, and that also will generate some income for you. You can have a mix of those two. Now, these days, you can, if you are a general practitioner, you cannot do subcutaneous immunotherapy unless you really learn a whole lot about it, because back in the old days, people made it so weak that you could take it home and do your own injections. But now, that is not possible because the Allergy Society does not allow that. You can do it, but it will not be good. People will frown on it because people found out a lot of people who died with their allergy injections died at home while doing it. Now, if you have food allergies, then the food allergies also you can do sublingual immunotherapy for it. So all of these are generated some income, passive income or income for you, because once they're on here, it goes 3 to 5 years. So you can see 3 to 5 years of therapy that generates some income. Now, again, these people with allergies also need nutritional supplements, and that generates some passive income as well. So you can see where you can, by educating the patients, by knowing exactly what to do, you can generate a lot of income without seeing tons of patients. The secret number 2 is that you don't have to be or sound like a salesman or sound salesy to get your patient to respect and see value in what you have to offer. So I can show you the integrative immunity way, which means that you will have to incorporate in your education an urgency or some way of showing them value of knowing what they should do. Because if you educate them and they know what they should do, nobody will pass it. So they will do what you tell them to do, and that would be the way to get their confidence, and so then you can help them out. So you don't have to sound salesy at all. So what do I mean by that? Now, to do this, I came up with this macro medicine diagram. I'll tell you, the first time I presented this diagram at A4M, the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, in the middle, once the diagram was finished, people start applauding. I said, what? Because usually people clap when you finish your lecture. And here, they start clapping after I finish the diagram. I said, why you're clapping? I'm not done yet. They said, no, it's for the diagram, because this diagram is like very encompassing. It gives you a lot of the information that you need basically to treat the patients. It's an endocrine diagram that ends up with your immune system. So this is a combination of the endocrine and the immune system that I have here. And I go through it and I explain the diagram systematically. I start from somewhere and I explain every single one of them. How many of you think that I do with this with patients? Yes, I go through this diagram with the selected patients who have many of the current 21st century problems. They have diabetes, they have weight problems, obesity problems, they have blood pressure problems, they have cholesterol problems. Many of them have menstrual disturbances. Many young women even now, painful cramps, irregular menses, heavy bleeding. They have all of these things going, ovarian cysts, polycystic ovaries. They have all of these stuff that are rooted in this diagram. So if you know, and thyroid disease, Hashimoto's, how many of you of us know how to treat Hashimoto's? How many of you of us know how to treat autoimmune diseases? What is at the base of autoimmune diseases? Why women have more autoimmune diseases than men? So if we understand this little diagram and we can explain to the patients, I tell you, there's magic in it, because the patient comes, when they start doing, they say, this is me, this is me, this is me, this is me, this is me. So they can find themselves in the diagram, even though they're not able to repeat it back to you, they're able to understand the mechanism behind it. They understand the whole, that this is the whole body, this is the problem that they have been trying to tell other practitioners, and the practitioners are not getting it. They're not able to sort it out. So here in one diagram, you have gotten it all, and you have shown them everything that is happening to them. So if while they're going down, then the body wants to make them by increasing the cholesterol. The cholesterol is made in the liver, and it goes to the gallbladder to mix it with bile. But sometimes there are no bile salts around, so the mixing does not take place. And when it doesn't, then we get the gallstones that form, and they call the cholecystitis, and then they have to operate and take the gallbladder out. So you can see a lot of women that have taken their gallbladder out. These women, you can know for sure they have hormone problems going. So secret number 3, you only need to focus on 2 important things. That's what I said. You need to focus on the immune system and the endocrine system to achieve success, because 95% or 90 to 95% of all the pathology that we see in our clinics, in hospitals, are due to those 2 systems. So we need to understand that. So I think that prevention is better than cure, and reestablishing health when it's lost would be the key. So no more chronic diseases. So many of us think that if you have diabetes, that's the end. You will have diabetes for the rest of your life. But why do we tell people then to go lose weight? Now, if we tell them to go lose weight, that means there's a solution to it. So how do we make them lose weight unless we understand what is behind the weight gain, so then they can lose the weight? We can anticipate and exceed patients' expectations. If we know what is happening, then the patient will be happy once they see us and we showing them what is really happening to them. So concern for our patients is paramount, our priority in a relaxed, friendly, but effective environment. So once we really aware of what is happening, medicine becomes joy again. Because when you go to clinic, now you are ready for all the challenges. So the patient come, you're not overburdened by 20, 50 patients a day, that you focusing on everything, then you're trying to solve the problem. They're happy and you're happy. That's what I see. So it's a relaxed environment. It's not a stressful environment for the patient, where the patient feels like they have to really tell you all their stories right away. Now you tell them, calm down, you have plenty of time, so let's talk. And then you get to the root cause of their problem. And total commitment to ameliorate the health and wellness of patients and our health too. Remember, we're all patients as well. Ignorance is never bliss when it comes to patient care. A lot of us hide our heads in the sand like ostriches do, thinking that our things are going to go away. But all the people are going to read on the internet and come back and they're telling you what is going on. Now, a lot of times they will come with a big list. And many of us hate the patient list because they want to go through it. But if you do the review system the way I do it, then the list goes away, because you ask them, did I answer your question? They say, yes, you answered all my questions. Then you don't have to deal with the list, but you did that review system in 5 minutes. Collaborate to serve our patients and energize ourselves to energize our patients. And focus on estrogen, obesity, allergy, anxiety, depression, tetrad. I call it tetrad. Many people talk about triad. I think we have 4 major things driving many of the chronic diseases: the estrogen epidemic, the obesity epidemic, the allergy epidemic, anxiety, depression epidemic. And by the way, anxiety has passed depression as the #1 mental issue we have in America today. And a lot of the women, 38% of women have, younger women have anxiety. Now, if I show you the CDC's diagrams and I show you the HCAP database and stuff like that, you can see that many, many women have anxiety more than men. A lot of conditions, many women have more than men. Some people will say it's because women love to be in the hospital or go to the hospital. No, I don't believe so. If you have a really serious problem, you may want to go see the doctor. So this one, I'll just fill it out. I brought this one here because in the end, you're going to also end up with some connection to, you're going to bring up with the connection with your immune system. So when the diagram is filled, then you can see that we go from here, the estrogen have reset of the mast cells, then we can have that on the immune system. So this is how the immune system works. But I'm not going to go into the detail to give you that, because that would be overwhelming for you. Already, the first diagram has been plenty, I think. And so, again, as an allergist and immunologist, I tell you the pathophysiology of atopic diseases such as eczema, asthma, allergic rhinitis, and There'll be food allergies, food sensitivities, what to do, what type of testing we should do, and all of that. Systematically, we'll go through that. And then food allergy, same thing, tree nut, peanut, and why we have all this food allergy epidemic going, and the role of estrogen in all of that. So I can show you, and the role of all the pesticides and other chemicals in our environment, how they're affecting us. So let me ask you a question. Are you enjoying this so far, besides the messy diagram? So if you're enjoying it, please write down, say yes. And if you are, these are the things we have done. We covered the #1 secret, which is you can make more money in a day by seeing only 3-4 new patients and 3 to 4 return patients, and that will liberate time for you to focus on your other life endeavors. Because medicine, there's a life after medicine, or life after helping other people. You have to help yourself as well. So by finding a way to helping taking 8 patients a day or even less, you can do pretty good. So minimum you can do 6, probably maximum you can do 8. And after a while you can do 10, maybe 12. If you did that, then you'll be even happier because you can do a whole lot and you will, you're not sacrificing your income at all. And secret #2, you don't have to sound salesy to make the patient respect your opinion and value what you have to offer, especially if you know what to tell them or what to do. So a little bit of education goes a long way, and you have to learn that education, because unless you have a blueprint or something to show them why they're having the conditions, then they're going to dismiss what you're saying. So secret #3 is you only need to focus on 2 important specialties, and the integrative immunity made for you blueprint will help you to achieve this success. So who wants to take the things to the next level? How many of you would like to know a little more about it? Because this is just a 90 minutes kind of deal. So how many of you would want to know more? How do you want to go higher and try to figure it out and try to know everything that you need to know in a very short period of time, so then you are equipped to answer all these loaded questions that your patient would come with? So you can put your answers in the Q&A box, and can say, I'm ready to pick up, and I'm ready to go forward. Well, if you are, then we're going to introduce what I call the Integrative Immunity Training Program. So this is a live 3-day course that is held in Edina, Minnesota. The course is accredited by the Foundation for Care Management. So that's the course that was created, and it's a Foundation of Care Management that gives you the credit hours. And we can talk about overview of the integrative immunity, the role of pesticide in the obesity and allergy epidemic, pesticides as endocrine disruptors, the widespread prevalence of endocrine disruptors and human disease, and how endocrine disruptors affect human hormones, and steps to effectively prevent and treat obesity and allergies, and how to solve these conundrum of problems. So the objective will identify and describe the interface between the endocrine system, the immune system, innate, humoral, all of these things that in medical school we try to learn, but we don't go deep enough, so it doesn't give us a lot of information. And the coagulation system, categorize the different environmental toxins and their effects as endocrine disruptors, especially the estrogen epidemic, can correlate with geographical distribution for the obesity epidemic. A lot of people think that obesity is uniformly distributed in the United States. It's not. Actually, obesity is centered in the middle. So if you go from the upper Midwest all the way down south, Mississippi and Bayman states, they have more obesity. Then it goes to east and it goes west. So all of these things will be covered in the course, and I will show you exactly how this works, and how autoimmune diseases come in, evaluate the connection between the pesticides, common household chemicals, and what is called hormone imbalance syndrome, which is high estrogen, low thyroid, low male hormones, and their impact on well-being. Discuss this hormone imbalance syndrome and its impact on obesity, comorbidities, and allergies. Illustrate why the South and Midwestern parts of the United States have more obesity, more morbidity, and mortality than other regions by evaluating pesticide maps, obesity maps, and morbidity and mortality maps for those regions. We can clarify also the connection between pesticides and growing allergy epidemic, evaluate the relationship between the endocrine and the immune systems. We can design the steps to effectively treat obesity and allergy problems based on information presented, and present the case studies. So that's very valuable, doing some case studies to help you understand even more how all these things come to be and how we can solve these 21st century problems for the patients. Also, we incorporate epigenetics. A lot of us know that the environmental pollution is changing our genes. So the epigenetics will be part of it. And we can see how these environmental toxins actually cause methylation, hypomethylation, microRNA changes, and histone modifications. And discuss and clarify how endogenous estrogens and estrogenic chemicals and microestrogen, believe it or not, fungus such as fusarium cause estrogen problems for us. And it's in your wheat that you eat, and people have no idea. So the estrogen metabolites all of that, how they cause cancer. So I can show you those things in the course and show the evidence-based research from journal articles. So this is not just put together out of the blue. There's a journal articles, there's a database. So I use the HCAP database to try to answer some of the questions. And I use the USGS, United States Geological Survey database and maps, and the BRFSS, which is the obesity maps by the CDCs, and show you the relationship between all of these. And that also used for the 4 books that synthesize the research on the connection among pesticides, obesity, and allergy epidemics as resources for this training program. So there are 3 keys that we need to know. The key number 1 is know the body. So know the body alone in the course, it gives us about 300 to 400 slides. So the whole course is about 1,092 slides in those 3 days. And definitely it's fast-paced, but what you get out of it is very astronomical in those 3 days. If you go to other courses, you may not come out that knowledgeable because this is concentrated and it gives you the focus, what is behind things. Know why we're having these epidemics, and you can see for yourself and solve those problems very quickly when your patients come to see you. And know the foods and beverages that cause problems for us. So I give you the typical foods that are involved in many of the problems we have. So I have a lifestyle change that I show you how you can use in your practice to help your patients. And when people do that lifestyle change, for me, in my clinic, actually they lose 20, 30, 60 pounds, and they feel better. They don't have to diet. So know the body, like I said, when you do your review of system, each thing that we cover has a differential diagnosis in the 21st century, adapted to the 21st century. That's why we have about 300, 400 slides, because if somebody has hair loss, what is it due to? If they have headaches, do you know women have more headaches than men? They have more migraine headaches. Why do they have more migraine headaches? Why women get migraine headaches before their period? Why? And so I show you the statistics, but also I show you how we can impact it by knowing why we have these problems. So this is important. So integrated immunity history taking, how you do that, and also the physical exam, how do you do that, things to look for. in the physical exam. Go to the point. Finish in 5-10 minutes. You did a physical exam, and you're done, and you get where you want to be. Integrated immunity laboratory testing. What type of labs? How do we test? Where to test from? Which companies do they test? How do you get to do those tests? And what would be the most important test that you can do for your patients? That is also covered. Integrated immunity assessment and how to do that. Know the environment alone. We're going to talk about the history of the chemicals in the United States. Organochlorine, organophosphate, glyphosate, which is the major ingredient in Roundup. Now, since the advent of glyphosate, Roundup in our food chain, things have not been the same. A lot of people have had problems. This came in 1996 on a larger scale when we have a genetically modified foods. And those created so much trouble, and you can see from the diagram that I have in food allergies and allergic reaction, you can see systematically why we have all these food sensitivities, and I would explain all that. Pesticides as endocrine disruptors have a pathophysiology. It's not only showing you the pesticide, that how do they actually affect us, and I show you the mechanism behind it. Endocrine disrupting chemicals timeline, persistent organic pollutants, the estrogen epidemic and what is estrogen and stuff. So we'll go through the different type of estrogen and xenoestrogen and phytoestrogen. We talk about all of that. And then symptoms associated with the estrogen. So I give you a bunch of symptoms so you can see that many of your patients actually fall in those categories. Estrogen dominance and its relationship to obesity, diabetes, and hypertension. If you go to Facebook, actually there's a group there called the Estrogen Dominance Group. So the general public is aware of this. They're actually making groups about it and try to answer their questions and try to figure it out. But many of us are not even aware of this estrogen dominance, and we're not talking about it. So when they discuss that in their groups on Facebook, and then they come to you and they look to you to answer those questions, if you're not aware and you're not prepared, you're not going to be able to answer those questions. You dismiss them, and then they go talk bad about you. Module 11, the effect of estrogen dominance and progesterone deficiency on thyroid, inflammatory condition associated with progesterone deficiency, the effects of estrogen on coagulation, why women, when they go on birth control pills, all of a sudden they're getting coagulation problems, they're getting blood clots. Variety of estrogen or hormone imbalance, leptin and leptin resistance. So you can see a lot of the things that we're going to talk about. And module 12, the obesity model. So I talked to you about obesity, the trends, the maps, and correlation with the pesticides, and areas with heaviest pesticide spray also correspond to the areas of heavier obesity. Those are all covered for you. Increasing the prevalence of environmental and food allergies. Why we have that, mast cell disease, why do we have mast cell activation syndrome? A lot of people are talking about mast cell activation syndrome. Many of the chronic complex patients have that, but we're not diagnosing it because we don't know. So it's important to really understand all of this. History of the obesity epidemic, so we have that. And treatment of environmental allergies and food allergies. So I show you how you can use sublingual immunotherapies, and if you want to really introduce that in your practice, you can do that, because we dedicate time for showing you or teaching you how to do that. And overview of estrogens and cancer, environmental estrogen and cancer, and the epigenetic part that we talk about. And diet. So I say, why diet and die? Adopt estrogen-free lifestyle. So I show you the estrogen-free lifestyle, what food to eat, what food not to eat, and what chemicals to use and what chemicals not to use. So Integrated Immunity Training Program is all about helping you reduce your long hours of work and liberate time to enjoy your family, friends, life, medicine again, and fast, because you're not going to wait 200 hours or 200 years before you can implement this. Actually, in April, So it's interesting to know that when you start implementing these things, people see value and people can learn from it and people can decide to do several things. So I think we can have fun together if you decide that you want to take the class. So what do you get? These are things that, or this is what you get. When you take the class, you get 24 credit hours, AMA Category 1 credit hours. If you're a nurse, you get nurse contact hours. If you're a pharmacist, you get that. If you're a chiropractor, you're going to get courses. The life course alone, you can value that as about $6,997. Not only you get the live course, but also with diagrams. I have diagrams that go along with the course, and I have made a DVD out of that. 6 hours that you get. If I want to put value on that, it's about $2,000, $1,997 in value. You get a lifetime update. So if I make changes, or like for now, I'm incorporating mast cell activation syndrome that I did not have in the course before. All of these new you will get for free because you already attended this class. So that is about $1,500 in value. You also get the mastermind, or you become part of the mastermind group, which means that we people who learn about integrative immunity, we have our little group where we can discuss cases. So it's not like you be part of these big groups out there, these integrated medicine groups, where you are left on your own. Once you attend the class, you are part of our group. And if you have a difficult case, we can all get together once a week and we can discuss cases. So we learn from each other and supporting our community and moving forward. So that's why I call the mastermind group, and that is invaluable. And I put $997 value to it. You get all the ITP resources, which means the copies of all the 4 books that I have written, and that the value is about $500, but it's more than that. So if you look at the total value for everything that you're going to get, it's going to be about $12,000. So, but that's not all. Not only you get all of this, but I can give you also a 3-hour coaching call in which you can call me and say, hey, Dr. Tano, I want to know more about this and that. So it's your prerogative. That's your first time. If you have more information you want to ask, you can ask those. If you have difficulty starting your clinic or trying to figure out how you can put allergy in your clinic and stuff, you can ask me that, and I will be able to answer you and help you with this. So that I value that about $19.97 as well, because 1 hour is very valuable. If you only got that alone, I think you would do pretty well. So if I want to count what you're getting the credit hours, the live course, you're getting the diagrams, you're getting the lifetime updates, you're getting the mastermind group, you're getting the ITP resources, plus this 1 hour coaching for free, almost $19.97. Total value of the whole package here is $1,485. Now, every month you get your paycheck, and about twice a month you get your paycheck. So that comes every month. But what is not coming back is the amount of time that you lose making that money, or these long hours of work, neglecting your family, not being with your friends, not traveling, not enjoying your life. If you look at the millennials, they have a better life than we do. Well, we have this noble goal of helping others, but we're not helping ourselves. We're not taking vacation. These new millennials, they're on the beach, they have their computers, they're living what we call the laptop life. Well, doctors are so-called intelligent people and professionals, and we are suffering, and we're living a miserable life. I think that perhaps this lost time that we put in so much, if we find a way to reduce those long hours of work, definitely we can do much better for ourselves too. Because when we become patient, then we realize how life is. So we don't have to burn ourselves out and become patients when we're trying to help patients. We have to figure out a way to help the patients without becoming patients ourselves. So that's where we are. So money replenishes, but time gone is gone. We're not getting it back. So the bonus number 2 that you get with this, I allow you to come for 1 day and do a shadow in my clinic. So you can see how I put all of these things together with the patients in terms of their history and physical, review of systems, physical exam, what I look, and then the education process, how I build in all the value so the patient can see value in it, and the tests that I do, how I do them. So systematically, you will learn every single aspect of it. And we have to break the old habits of working, and not having fun at all. So we need to find a way to get out of this rat race. So here's what you're getting then. You're getting not only the credit hours, the live course, you're getting the diagrams, you're getting the lifetime updates of this course, you get the lifetime mastermind community membership, the ITP resources, you get the 3-hour coaching. On top of that, you're going to get also the shadowing. If I put all together, $18,000, that's the value of the course. So if you got the information alone, I think you will do wonderful, you will do excellent, but you're getting more than that. Bonus 3, you can get also the PDF of the marketing blueprint. That blueprint that I showed you in the beginning, I can give you that and making sure that you understand how that works. That a lot of people make excuses, oh, I don't have money. For instance, when I started this, there's a PA who had approached me after I gave her some of these classes in the community, and she wanted to actually attend this course. Later on, when I called her, she said, oh, my CME money is really limited, and I cannot do this and I cannot do that. But she saw value when I did a small 2-hour presentation for the practitioners in the community, and she wanted to really attend. I said, oh, I cannot do it. We have a lot of excuses for not taking action. I really would say that it's important to probably do something now instead of waiting and continue in the old way without breaking our old habits and not getting anywhere with solutions to our patients. So it will be important then for us to take care of that. And again, what you're going to get here is that you will get the 24 credit hours in the live course, you get in the diagrams, you get in the lifetime updates, you get in the lifetime mastermind community membership, you get in the ITP resources, copies of all the books, you get in the 3-hour coaching, you get in the 3-day shadowing. But I don't think that I would want you to pay that. So today, if you register for this class, it will be $19.97 only for all the things that I have listed for you. I started off by saying that I would do this course $59.97. I've seen a lot of other courses. For instance, when I teach for A4M, one of the lectures or modules is sold for about $2,000, but you don't even get this whole deep value. So here I'm making the whole thing, these 3 days course plus all the goodies that you get along with it, for $19.97 only today. But down the road, I can guarantee you that I will charge the $59.97 because I know the value of the course. And for that matter, definitely it is worth it. And the people who have attended the class and what they're getting and the praises that they're getting from the patients alone, that's worth 10 grand or more. The $18,000 value is for the course. There are less people who do less than this, shadowing and all of that, that they charge 20 grand for it. But here we're doing all of these things, and I want to charge you $19.97. A lot of people have CME values, monies, and they take courses that do not yield anything. Here, you're going to be able to use your courses right away after you finish the class. Monday morning, when you go back, you can implement this in your clinic and help your patients right away. And of course, with the continuous support, definitely you will be a master at this. And so as time goes by, we all can help more people and do less for ourselves, so then we can improve our lives, improve our family lives, and improve our way of living. So you can go to HTTPS, so it's actually a secure website, imtp.com. So HTTPS www.imtp.com. So that's a website where you can have your registration. Very simple process. I think the registration you can do with your credit card, or if you can download, you want to download your the course brochure, you can do that here at this website as well. And that would allow you to even send in your registration also. So that's how we do it. You have two choices. Either you get these things now, or you want to, for this all value for just $19.97, or you can wait and try to see what you're gonna do. So next year, when the price goes up, $59.97, then yeah, you'll be out of money. But now here you can get it for $19.97 today if you register for this class. Again, this is the website, and the $19.97 will be the key. There's a reward to it. I promise you that if you stay till the end, I will give you a reward, and the reward will be the PDF of my best-selling book. So I have not forgotten that, and so I think you will be able to get the PDF, and I will give you the link where you can get that PDF of the Layman's Guide to Integrative Immunity. If you go to the website, you can enter your email, and then there will be a place where you can download the PDF, the free PDF. So it's exactly at the same website for free. And you can read it before you attend the class, but if you're attending the class, you get all the book, the actual book, the print book for yourself, and then you can consult that. That book actually has case studies in it, and it gives you a lot of information about nutritional supplements that you use for each condition. So that in itself is a lot of value. And I wanted to do the practitioner's guide, but I found out that if I did the practitioner's guide, it would be about 1,000 pages. And nobody wants to publish a book of 1,000 pages. So I decided to make a training program out of it. And that's why we have this Integrative Immunity training program. But initially, I was going to conceive it as a book, but the book would be too humongous. So I just made a training program out of it. And that's how that happened. If you take advantage of the training program, I think you'll go really far with your patient care and the knowledge that you have accumulated. If you have questions or difficulty registering, you can also reach us at 952-222-3879. That's our office number, where you can find us and you can register for the class. Now, I also have one additional thing, which means you can call us and ask us about the referral program, which means if you refer some of your friends or other people to this training program, we give you a little bonus. And so that will be a little incentive to attend or to come and make some little thing about it. So that's why I said you can call us and ask us about our referral program. So if you know some people who want to get into integrative medicine, instead of spending hours after hours going to some of these big courses and they don't really get you to the point, and you'll be prepared to address and use it, the information that you have, use it Monday morning when you get home and you start doing things. If you know people who are interested in doing that and you invite them to come, I think that would be pretty good. So that would be rewarding for you because we can help you with that. So that's what I have for today. And I'm ready. If you want me to answer questions, I can answer your questions. So thank you for coming to this seminar, and we love having you here, and we thank you for attending.